we not on? Okay, yeah, we are. We're good. Hopefully this stays up, you guys. I have a tripod that lives in the bathroom, but I don't know where I put it. Well, I do know where I put it. It's in a book bag. I took it when I was traveling last, and it's still in my book bag. So I was just getting ready to go get Mac from the doctor. We had to go to the store and get a few things for him beforehand. And I was having some thoughts. It's funny, I recorded a podcast in the car yesterday while driving because, again, I just keep having all of the thoughts in the car. So, or in these like moments. So here we go. And I wanted to just explain to you and remind you about, especially for those of you who own your own company. But if you don't own your own company, you can still do this also. And if that's something that you want to talk more about, we can. But one of the things that I think I don't do a great job of explaining publicly is to you is how I'm able to help people really grasp the concept and really build their lives the way that they want them to be. And what I mean by that is, does that mean you get rid of difficult people? No. Like, does that mean that you'll never have to deal with difficult people ever again? No. Like, that's not realistic, right? But what happens is you get to choose who and how and what you allow to stay in your space, right? Like, I recorded a podcast about what's brought to your table one time. My life is, there it is. Okay. Everything's not in the right place with me right now. Anyway, our world's been a little crazy with the dog stuff and me being sick and all of these things. But anyway, so with that being said, you really get to design how you deal with every single thing in your life. And what I mean by that is not like some airy-fairy, I don't have negative people around me. Like, yeah, that can be true too, but what ends up happening is you have to build that. And what I mean by that is you have to build yourself and grow within yourself to learn how to interact and how to behave differently in a way where you're not attracting those kinds of relationships, you're not allowing them, you're not interacting, but like you can really lead most conversations. That's a lot of blush. But you can really lead most conversations to fit your narrative, especially if you're coming from a place of compassion and love. The lighting in here is really horrible today, so if anybody is like a makeup person watching this, like, don't judge me. But I also can't see. I can see that people are alive, but I can't see who it is. And there's really loud sounds in the background. That's Tony watching a movie, so hopefully you can hear me okay. Anyway, so in a lot of my trainings, I'll refer to this as manipulating, because the word manipulating has gotten such a bad rap in the world. And granted, a lot of people do falsely use it, or they use it for evil, right? Where in the truth, the word manipulation, if you look it up in the dictionary, it's not a negative word. It just truly stands for the fact of, like, the definition is being able to negotiate and maneuver something in a certain way. It doesn't have to people don't have to be negatively manipulative, but you can learn how to communicate and walk through the situations that you encounter in your life in ways that work it, more in your favor, instead of everything being so fucking devastating to each and every person, right? Like, so many people are like, oh my God, all these things happened to me. And it's like, no, that should, like, if that's your attitude, right, then that's all you're ever going to find is things that are happening to you. And that's going to be your existence. But there's a way to start to train your mind and to train your thought process to look at life differently. Like, there's a way to start to build it different, but you have to be willing to dissect every thought, every automatic thought that you have, all of those conversations. Like, you have to be willing to do that work. And it's a lot of work and it's exhausting sometimes. And not everybody is willing to do it. That's why I don't work with every single person that applies, but because I know what it takes to commit to that. But I just want you to know, especially if you own your own company or you're trying to mold your life in a way that's different from the people that you've been around, maybe people you've grown up with or the people in your family or whatever it is, I just want you to be reminded that you started doing something different for a reason. Not so that you could do it exactly like somebody else did. You get to do it your way. And so something that I remember is that, and like, it's almost like we get told that, like, we're daydreamers or we're crazy or we're cocky for even thinking that this is a thing or this is possible. which is actually really fucking sad, but I've built my business and my life in such a beautiful way. And it takes consistent work, and it took work for many, many years to build a really unshakable foundation. But to where I can take care of my people and take care of myself and write and share and do all these beautiful things and travel and whatever, I've built my life this way, where no one's like, there's nobody who's misunderstanding or putting bad obligations on me or making me feel guilty or like any of that stuff that's happening. That's me, right? Or it's me showing up with situations that are out of alignment, or I've made promises, or I've put myself in situations I shouldn't be in, or whatever, right? But like, you have to remind yourself, like, hi, I created my life this way, and that's okay. That's beautiful. Like, you designed it like this, and you get to do that. So if that is something that you're in the middle of, starting at, been doing for a long time, whatever it is, here's your reminder that you really do to get to create this and handle your interactions and your things the way that you want to, on your own terms, on what feels right for you, what matches for you, all of those things. Like, you get to do that. You really, really do. Of course, as you know, my goal is always for people to do that for good, not for evil. But, I mean, you could do it for evil too, obviously. Plenty of people do, but that's not what we're talking about here. I like to believe that anybody who's listening to my shit isn't trying to go out and, you know, negotiate conversations and things in bad ways. But I just know that so many conversations and so many things are like, well, this can't be this way for me, and it should bother people, and why do you live your life like this? And just sometimes we need reminders that, like, your life is yours, and you get to choose how that goes, and you get to choose what's acceptable and what's not. You get to choose what you commit to and what you don't, what's important to you and what isn't. Like, you get to choose those things. Like, just like you get to choose what your own core values are. Like, some people, like, your core values may be drastically different than mine. I might not agree with what your core values are. It's not my choice. That's your choice. You see what I mean? Like, those are kind of the things that I think we lose sight of, and we lose the ability to realize, like, we really do get to make those choices, and everything that we're not changing, we're choosing. And sometimes we do this on purpose, right? Like, we don't want to change anything, so we keep choosing the same thing over and over again, and that's a beautiful thing if we're doing it intentionally, right? But I just really wanted to step in here today, and I'm probably rambling, and maybe this doesn't even make any sense, but somebody somewhere needed to hear the message of, you really get to build it. This is steaming really badly because it's humid in here. You really get to build it however you want. And until you learn and acknowledge that you have that power and are willing to commit to doing it, things aren't going to change for you, for your situation. Like, they're just not. And the more you remember, I built it this way, right? Like, when you do it intentionally, like, I built my life this way. I have nothing to feel guilty for. I have nothing to feel guilty about the fact that I'm leaving right now. You know, I've been on calls all morning for 5 hours. I've been on phone calls with clients and doing client work. And now I'm going to go pick up some stuff that I need for my dog who just had surgery. And I'm going to come home, and I will probably sit on the floor with him and do some work once I'm home. But I've built my life where I can do that, and it's nobody's business, right? Like, I don't need to explain that to anyone. I don't need to explain to anyone that I'm going to sit on the fucking floor for the next 3 weeks in my bedroom or wherever I choose to set up shop with my dog and do my work like I did when he had his knee surgeries. Like, all of my live streams, all of my coaching calls, everything was done. All of my trainings, all of my work was done sitting on the floor next to Mac while his knees were healing, right? Like, I don't need to explain to anyone. And how fucked up of the world do we live in to where, like, I feel like I need to, like, people make me feel like there's something wrong with that. Like, I should feel guilty for it or something. Like, you wouldn't believe the conversations and the comments and the things that people say. And it's usually people who boast about how they're so into building a different life and they're so into this and that and the other thing. But then they haven't put in the work to do it for themselves. And then, you know, I'm just an asshole for thinking and living that way. Well, sorry, but I've put in the work and I'm willing to. And if you were willing to too, I could help you build it, right? Like, that's just kind of the thought process we almost have to adopt. Where did I put my hat? My hair is not all there right now. I need new extensions. So we are definitely wearing a hat today because I'm missing like a big chunk of my hair, and that's what we're doing. But me and Tony are going to go grab what we need for the dog. I just set up the room for him. Like I said, full morning of calls. I don't feel well today, to be honest. I haven't felt well in a couple of days, but I'm doing my best to take care of myself, take care of the pup, and that's what you do. I've built my life in a way that I'm allowed to and have space to, and it's not even that I'm allowed to, I am. I do. So that's some of the other things I've been working on, and I'll record some more stuff about that. The whole like premise of, oh, I'm allowed to make myself a priority. Motherfucker, like, nobody needs to give you a permission slip for that. Nobody needs to give you a permission slip for that. How gross does that feel? Oh, I'm allowed to be a priority. You are a priority. You are a priority. You're not allowed to make yourself a priority. You are a priority. Like, when did we get this so twisted that we needed a permission slip to take care of ourselves? That we need a permission slip to live life the way that we choose to live life? Like, no, you are this person. You are these things, and that is like no explanation needed, right? So anyways, love y'all. Happy Friday. I'll send some pictures of my 3-legged dog as soon as I pick him up. Having a little anxiety about it, not gonna lie, but I know that he's gonna be okay. So thanks for watching. Love you guys. Talk to you later.